Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody? Make sure you were up and live, running. There was some news from late night last night, I guess. Homeless encampment shot 8 people. It's kind of weird because the encampment area was privately owned. We're going to talk about that. Let's start up with the press conference. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you guys are doing good. It's been a heavy week with Charlie Kirk. Of course, we'll keep covering updates with that. But I wanted to tap in this morning because I heard about this shooting. 8 people shot. The weird thing is, like, there's this landlord, believe it or not, that owns the lot where the shooting took place. This person's name is, what the hell is his name? Hamoudi Sabri. He's a commercial real estate landlord and developer in Minneapolis. He owns multiple lots and properties around East Lake Street, including one where a vacant building, a parking lot, has been used for a homeless encampment. So he owns these lots and properties, and he's putting homeless people at these places, I guess. He opened in July 2025. He opened one of his own private lots to the homeless individuals, citing the frustration with the city's approach to relocating encampments. The lot had no running water, toilets, sanitation, which led to complaints, citations, and concerns about public health and safety. But because the property is private, the city has faced legal obstacles enforcing cleanup or closure. And Sabri has resisted orders, saying that he's trying to provide a place for people who are homeless and that the city's policies leave them repeatedly displaced. So there's this like tug of war situation with the city and this guy. And now on one of these properties, 8 people shot. Wow.
Just off of Lake Street earlier this evening. This is tragic. It is horrible. It's unacceptable. And sadly, it's not surprising. These homeless encampments are not safe, either for the people that are in them, nor are they safe for the surrounding neighborhood. With this particular one, we've been saying this for months. We have been met with resistance when trying to close this particular encampment. We've been trying to do everything possible to get people into shelter, into permanent housing, to make sure that they've got wraparound services, care, addiction treatment, you name it. And here's the truth. We have tried. We have entered and are entering litigation for a public health nuisance. And at the same time...
See, that's the thing I was just telling you about, because this guy privately owns the lot, and so the city is like trying, I guess they don't want them there.
This is a whole lot worse than a nuisance. This is an open danger. The neighborhood deserves better. We will be clearing this encampment immediately after the crime scene has been investigated and taken care of. And I'm appreciative of the additional assistance that we are getting from a number of different jurisdictions. We have asked the state for additional assistance in the form of resources.
And somebody's cursing in the background. So I heard him saying, F somebody, F this, F that. The thing is, too, this guy Sabri, he's criticized the city's bulldozers, fencing, and police sweeps, saying that the homeless people are just being moved around without real solutions, leaving trauma and instability. He claims his crime is helping people who have nowhere else to go.
And I'm grateful to the governor and his administration. They are helping out. I'm grateful to all of the other officers that have done a tremendous amount of work tonight. And I'll just say it again. This is horrible, it is tragic, and it is not surprising. We're going to be clearing this thing immediately.
How many people were struck by gunfire?
Chief.
Sure. So I'll give some details on the shooting as we know him. But unfortunately, here we are yet again in the aftermath of a mass shooting. This is not normal. I'm providing details on yet another multiple victim shooting in which 8 people have been injured by gunfire. This time this occurred at a homeless encampment. Tonight at approximately 10 p.m., Minneapolis police officers responded to multiple reports of shots being fired in the area of South 28th Avenue and East Lake Street. A Minneapolis police officer working off-duty at the target was approached by multiple people running and telling him that there was gunfire outside. The officer exited the store and heard gunfire coming from the area of the encampment just north of East Lake Street and South 28th Avenue. Responding Minneapolis police officers located 5 people that were injured inside of the encampment. 3 had managed to walk out onto the sidewalk behind me. 2 others were located in tents inside of the encampment. So at the scene here at the encampment, we have 1 woman with a life-threatening gunshot wound. She was shot in the head. That woman was found by police officers that were checking the tents for victims. We have 2 other men with life-threatening injuries. Another male with a gunshot wound to the head who was also found by police inside of a tent. There is another male with a life-threatening gunshot wound to the stomach. There's 1 male with an apparent non-life-threatening gunshot wound to his leg, 1 woman with a non-life-threatening injury to her leg. So in addition to those 5 victims, 1 male with an apparent non-life-threatening gunshot wound walked into Children's Hospital and has since been transferred by ambulance to Hennepin Healthcare. 1 woman with a graze wound walked into Abbott Northwestern Hospital. 1 male with life-threatening injuries has arrived at Regions Hospital, gunshot wounds to the neck and torso. So that is a total of 8 victims, 4 with life-threatening injuries, of which 3 are men and 1 is a woman, 4 with apparent non-life-threatening injuries, 2 are men and 2 are women. Investigators are working to determine the sequence of events that led up to
those attacked and prayers for those in the hospital. Oh my word. This violence needs to stop.
Hey, Julie, thank you.
Shootings.
Thank you for 31 months.
There are multiple shell casings inside of the encampment, but we're not even certain that we have been able to discover all of them because it is very dense with a lot of debris inside of the encampment. Additionally, while the police were on scene, one of the tents caught fire. We're not certain how the fire was started. The fire department had to respond to extinguish the fire. We have secured the scene, and it will remain secured until it can be cleared tomorrow morning after our Forensic Services Division have finished processing it. The people, obviously, that are staying inside of these encampments are vulnerable. And we have been saying for a while that these are unsafe and just unsanitary conditions for them. And we are, we regret the tragedy that has happened here tonight. The people of Minneapolis deserve peace and safety. All residents of the city deserve that on their streets and in their neighborhoods and in their homes. And I know it's been a lot of violence lately, and we just want our community to know that we are not going to give up and that we will continue to fight so that every person in this city can be safe. And with that, again, things are very preliminary, but I'll take questions that you have.
I thought they said the crime was down.
Do we know roughly how long the encampment was here at this location?
It's months. I don't know if you have.
Months, plural, at this point. I'm sure you can go back and check the record.
Would this, people are saying, once they pop up, why not immediately just tear it down and get rid of it? What would...
Yeah, so with this particular encampment, as you probably know, there's a long saga with it. When it is public property, we are able to very quickly clear. When it is public property, oftentimes we're able to prevent it from getting set up from the very beginning. In this case, it's private land. And we have tried to clear this encampment on multiple occasions. We were met with resistance by the property owner. It made it very difficult, both from a practical as well as a legal perspective. And so ultimately, we moved forward with a public health nuisance order. And that is the litigation that is moving forward now. And at the same time, this is way worse than just a nuisance.
Yeah.
This is a danger to the community. They deserve better. We have an obligation to keep them.
So what's better? What's the options that you have for the homeless? This guy Sabri, I don't know his intentions. I guess he's trying to say his intentions are good. It could be. Seems like, I don't know. Hamoudi Sabri is a commercial real estate landlord and developer in Minneapolis. He started buying some private lots. He said, you know what? The homeless people can go here. He owns multiple lots and properties. That's who Frey here is talking about, the private owner. I never heard of something like this before. Private owner, I got my own private land. I have a private lot. The homeless people can go here. And the city, you can't F with me. I mean, they're trying. And, but they're trying to say, well, it's unsafe conditions. As to what? Being on the streets? So they're saying the lot had no running water, toilets, or sanitation, which led to complaints and citations about public health and safety. So they're saying it's unsafe. This guy says he opened his private lot so people had somewhere to stay rather than being displaced constantly by the city sweeps. And he's saying that the city sweeps, I guess they have these tents up. The city's coming in. They're moving these people. All they're doing is just shifting these people around, I guess. And he was calling out the city. He argues Minneapolis isn't providing real solutions, just moving homeless folks around. His stance forces attention on the city's homelessness policies. These are the Dem places too, right? That they love everybody and everything. What are you doing for those people then? Humanitarian intent. So they're trying to say it's unsafe conditions, no proper waste, no running water. Obviously, it's unsafe. It's unsafe anywhere. But I guess if you have a huge collection of these people and there's drugs, they're saying they're seeing heavy drug use, overdoses, fires, and now shootings. He's racked up $15,000 in fines, and he shrugged at the legal orders.
I'm safe, and this is not safe. Private land, public land. This is just not safe. The kind, I mean, and as the chief said, these are vulnerable people. We need to be looking out for them. And it is not a compassionate response to just say, let's have this large-scale homeless encampment in any form of permanent fashion. It doesn't work. The amount of drugs that are coming into these encampments is extraordinary. It's a customer base for people that are looking to prey on vulnerable individuals. And it's a problem.
Have you spoken with Mr. Sabri since the shooting?
I have not.
That's what he's talking about, the owner.
Do we know if this was at all related to the earlier mass shooting further down the
They had another mass shooting too before this.
We don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'll let the chief expound on that a little bit.
Yeah. So I don't think I mentioned in my remarks, there's, just like Lake Street today, there's needles and drug paraphernalia all over the place. It's obviously close, and it's obviously similar conditions. So while the investigation is still very, very preliminary, that is certainly not something that we can rule out. And of course, it's something that we want to consider.
Do we have any evidence to suggest the shooter or shooters knew folks in the encampment, or do we need to be worried about people targeting the most vulnerable in our communities?
So again, it's preliminary, but it does appear that individuals came here with a purpose. At least one individual, one shooter that did. But we also believe, based on the evidence, that there was an exchange of gunfire. So at least two people were shooting.
So we have two mass shootings in one day.
Yes.
The National Guard, I mean, is that being brought up? Is something to help assist to
bring in the National
maintain
Guard?
Order? I mean, it's spiraling.
So the mayor has gotten us assistance from the state. I expect state troopers to be patrolling Lake Street again. if not tomorrow, very soon. I've been in conversations with the Hennepin County Sheriff and the BCA. They have been redirecting additional investigative resources into this part of the city because this is where we have been most affected by the uptick in violence.
Morning, everybody.
But the bottom line is we are a police department that was typically staffed with 900 cops, and we have 600. We're still down a third with a much higher volume of services that are needed. So, of course, one thing we need is bodies wherever that could come from.
And that's what I'm coming to ask.
Yes.
Is that a prolonged thing that's going to go on with the assistance from the troopers and the county sheriff, or is that just for a temporary kind of?
I hope it can be as long as it is needed. I have not heard a time commitment yet. I know the sheriff's office is here every day anyway, and she has offered to reassign the resources that are already here proactively into this area.
Do you have a sense of how many rounds were fired in this incident?
I don't know how many rounds were fired in this incident. I do know that there's at least there are reports that it could be as many as 30, and that's just from people reporting what they heard. But again, it's difficult to tell right now because there's the casings are all over the place inside the encampment. Some inside of tents even. And
Thanks, April.
anything else?
Do you want to say anything just about the past 12 hours? It's been, again, pretty chaotic for everybody.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been the past couple of weeks. You know, I know there's just been a lot of, there's been far too many victims. There's been a whole lot of trauma in the community.
It's a mess.
People need to know we are not going to quit. We're going to continue to do everything that we possibly can, both to hold these folks accountable and try and do things to prevent future violence from happening. We had the shooting today on Lake Street. We had been in meetings with other partners to try and do something about that particular area, and the mayor gave the order to immediately shut that down, and that is closed now. It will remain closed. And I think we need to do the same thing here because these environments, we have a lot of people congregating, that there's obviously folks using drugs in an environment that is just permissive for that. And it's bringing with it these associated problems. You know, you have a dispute over fentanyl, you can't call the police. This is how those types of disputes are settled.
That's right.
That's the problem with this. And it just leads to all sorts of other disorder and chaos when these large assemblies are allowed to remain.
Yeah.
Chief, just to be clear, an arrest has not been made at this hour in this incident or the earlier one today, correct?
No arrest yet.
Is there a suspect?
There's an arrest on the domestic violence Sunday morning in North Minneapolis.
Any leads to a suspect or anything involved in this shooting?
There is no suspect at this time, but there is a lot of evidence that people are going through. There's investigators that have come in from home, people who are reviewing stuff. We have a lot of folks working on this right now.
One more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Liz, you had asked earlier if I had talked with Sabri. The answer is no, but as soon as this crime scene has been investigated, we're shutting this thing down. If he wants to sue us, he can.
If he wants to sue us, he can. He's talking about the private owner.
Wants to take it down, but as soon as this crime scene has been investigated, we're shutting this thing down.
As soon as the crime scene is done, we're shutting it down.
If he wants to sue us, he can. If he wants to take this up in court, that is certainly his prerogative, but this is not safe. This is a danger to the community, and it's being shut down right now.
And just one clarification thing. Is it believed that all of the shots occurred on his property, or did some come from the street and then lead into it?
Quite a few cases that are on the property.
Yeah. I don't think we have found any discharged shell casings outside of the property, outside of the lot. I believe there might be one bullet in the alley that was not fired, just left, maybe related, maybe totally unrelated. But everything that's been found here has been found inside of the encampment.
Thank you for the clarification.
Do we have any idea how many people might have been there at the time?
I don't have that number. I do know the officers, again, were just literally checking every tent to make sure that people were okay and able to get out.
And we believe that all 8 of those, regardless of what hospital they landed at, were at
We're
the
victims
encampment at the time.
inside of the
Yeah.
encampment, yeah.
Question for you, Mayor. Do you blame him for this?
Look, now is not the time for blame. Now is the time to make sure that the victims of these shootings are taken care of, and we're looking out for them. And it is time that we all recognized a very simple truth, which is that these homeless encampments are not safe. While there are many causal factors, the primary one is deep addiction. These are people that are vulnerable, and we need to be looking out for them. And I don't think we're looking out for them by simply allowing these encampments or these open-air drug markets to just continue to exist. When you have anything that ends a huge portion of the time with either an explosion or a significant shooting, that thing should probably not be allowed to continue. That's the case with this homeless encampment.
Folks, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the homeless encampment mass shooting drama with the private owner. Kash Patel, yeah, he is having
senior leaders of the Central American gangs like MS-13.
This high-profile investigation. The men and women who serve at the FBI and the American people deserve a director who has the ability and the character to restore the Bureau to its place as the preeminent law enforcement agency. I want to close on a personal note. I came of age in the 1960s. We experienced a number of horrific assassinations, including President John Kennedy, Senator Robert Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King. We are going through a similar period of division and political violence. All of us in public life, on both sides of the aisle, have a responsibility to bring down the temperature and to work to unite the American people. Let's be clear. Republicans are not Nazis, and Democrats are not evil, as Mr. Patel has claimed. Democrats are not responsible for the murder of Charlie Kirk, and Republicans were not responsible for the murder of Melissa Hordman. Our political opponents are not our enemies. We are all Americans, and we should be working together to keep the American people safe and protect their constitutional rights. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Would you please stand so I could swear in? Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Please be seated, and you can give your statement now.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Durbin, and members of the committee. It's an honor to be here with you today as the 9th Director of the FBI. I want to providing a briefing into the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk. It's important that this FBI is transparent as possible without jeopardizing investigations. Charlie Kirk was shot at 12:23 p.m. on September 10th. I think this timeline is critically important. Less than a day later, the FBI, at my direction, released the first set of images of the suspect that we captured based on our analysis on the ground. Later that evening, while conducting extensive interviews and cell phone analysis, and also flying out evidence response teams and hostage rescue teams and evidence tacticians who were collecting evidence in live time and flying them back to Washington, D.C. in our laboratories for immediate analyses, we were able to extract video from the campus feed, and at my direction at 8 p.m., in partnership and promise to working with the public to bring this fugitive to justice, we released a newly, never before seen video of the suspect. We also released new enhanced photos of the suspect. A few hours later, that suspect was in custody, pursuant to the interrogation of the suspect's own father, who stated, "When I saw that video that you released, I recognized it was my son, and I confronted him, and he was handed over to lawful law enforcement authorities." That is the FBI working with the public as I promised, being transparent and providing critical information along the way in the manhunt for the suspect and suspects involved in Charlie's assassination. We received over 11,000 tips in the first 24 hours alone. We received 16,000 submissions to our digital media enterprise and tip lines. That is a large number of material to go through. I want to thank President Trump and the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, for their unwavering support and commitment of resources to this and all investigations. I also want to especially thank our colleagues in Utah, the Governor's Office, DPS, and the sheriffs out there. State and local law enforcement partnership has been a cornerstone since I took over at the FBI, and it was no different here. And our teams in Salt Lake City, our SACs out there across the country, our lab technicians in Quantico who raced to complete the evidence analysis so the public could have the answers they need. These people worked through the night without sleep for days on end. They are to be commended. They are not to be attacked. And many, many, many more people I don't have time to thank here today. But I do want to thank the American people especially. The mission of the FBI is for them and with them and by, with, and through them. And it's that mission and that ethos that I brought to this investigation and so many others, and that's why that suspect is in custody. We cannot do our job without the American public and credible reporting in the media, and that's why Tyler Robinson is in custody today, about to face charges. The last time I appeared before this committee was in January for my confirmation hearing. I told you then that if I were confirmed, I would provide and do everything I can to provide a safe and secure America. I promise to provide the courageous men and women of the FBI the tools and resources they need to crush violent crime and defend the homeland. I pledge myself to commit to full transparency, oversight, and accountability so we could restore the public's trust in the FBI. And that's exactly what I've done. Under this administration, the FBI has arrested more than 23,000 violent criminals. That's more than twice for the same time period from last year alone. 23,000, more than twice from the same time period last year. We've taken over 6,000 illegal firearms off the streets. That number is an exponential increase. We've identified and located more than 4,700 child victims. More than 4,700 child victims have been found by this FBI. That is a 35% increase from the same time period last year. 1,500 child predators have been arrested. That's a 5% increase from the same time last year. 300 human traffickers have been arrested. That's a 10% increase from the same time last year. Over 350 members of Tren de Aragua, foreign terrorist organization, have been arrested, and we have 42 ongoing cases. That is a 250% increase from the same time last year. Those are just some of the things the FBI is doing differently and better because we are leading the mission to crush violent crime and defend the homeland. We have also arrested captured four top 10 fugitives from the FBI's top 10 most wanted list. To put that in perspective, that's the same amount I've captured in 7 months than my predecessor did during the entirety of the Biden administration. Those are real results, and the credit is to the men and women at the FBI. We've been able to achieve these results because the FBI recognizes violent crime doesn't just happen in Washington, D.C. That's why one of my first decisions as a director was to get the people, the Bureau's professional staff, out to the field. And we've done that with great speed. And every single one of your districts and states has received a plus-up of FBI personnel, agents, and special operators to the tune of almost 1,000. We did that because crime had unexpectedly and unacceptably exploded across the country. In fact, one of the stats that the American people should thank the FBI the most for is we are on track to have the lowest murder rate in modern American history. The lowest murder rate by double-digit percentages. A major factor in the drop of this violent crime is the FBI's flagship Operation Summer Heat. We use this initiative at the direction of the President and the Attorney General, surging resources to our major and mid-major cities across America, conducting intelligence-based operations to target the worst of the worst, to target the gangs, to target the transnational organizations, to target the TCOs, and to target the drug trafficking cartels. And we have taken them out city by city. There's a lot of work left to be done, but we're off to a great start. Just ask the citizens of Seattle, Miami, Memphis, Charlotte, Chicago, and so many more places. Specifically in New Orleans and Nashville alone, there has been an increase in the number of violent crime arrests by an average of 250% for each of those cities. And there has been a drastic reduction in crime across the board in mid-major cities across this country, thanks to the men and women of the FBI. How are we doing that? We are attacking the drug epidemic. We've seized nearly 1,000 kilograms of meth and cocaine off the streets of America. We've taken over 1,600 kilograms of fentanyl off the streets. Maybe one of the greatest achievements we have this year, 1,600 kilograms of fentanyl. That's a 25% increase from the same time last year. To put things in perspective, that's enough fentanyl to kill a third of the American populace, 115 million Americans. We're also going after the companies that manufacture these precursors overseas in places like mainland China and their cutting agents. In fact, this month in Cincinnati, we announced groundbreaking charges aimed at the individuals and businesses responsible for flooding these opioids and their precursors and cutting agents into the streets of America. And for the first time that I can remember, we are charging these businesses and enterprises, not just in America, but in mainland China, and seizing their operational necessity to have money by seizing their cryptocurrency wallets. We're also equally important to protecting the homeland. We know we have a no-fail mission. We're committed to keeping our nation safe from terrorism, cyber attacks, and foreign adversaries. Whether stopping threats inspired by foreign terrorist organizations or lone wolf actors or sponsored by hostile nation states. This year, we've already made nearly 60 counterintelligence arrests. 60 counterintelligence arrests this year alone is a 30% increase from the same time period last year for the CI work at the FBI. I'm proud when we can share our successes, such as when an espionage charge was brought against an active duty U.S. Navy sailor caught spying for the People's Republic of China. But I want the American people to know the FBI is protecting the homeland from foreign adversaries in a way that will never make the news, and a lot of the good work that they do will never be able to discuss in this setting. We're working on cyber threats. We're attacking malware infrastructure, going after ransomware attackers, delivering a new partnership with the private public sector engagements we've taken with the companies who are attacked by these foreign adversaries and nation-state actors and individual enterprise rings from around the world. We are combating Salt Typhoon, Vault Typhoon, Flax Typhoon, and so many other ransomware and cyber threats this nation faces. We're also arresting people such as Tajik national in Brooklyn, who is suspected of sending tens of thousands of dollars to support ISIS. We're going after the new form of what I refer to as modern-day terrorism in America, 764 crimes that involve harming our children by going after them online, causing self-mutilation, suicide, sexual abuse, and steering them in the wrong direction. Currently, we have 3,500 international terrorism investigations. Specifically, we have in this country 1,700 domestic terrorism investigations, a large chunk of which are nihilistic violent extremism, NVE. Those who engage in violent acts motivated by a deep hatred of society, whatever that justification they seem is. The FBI has seen a 300% increase in cases opened this year alone versus the same time last year. In the last couple of months, the FBI secured a guilty plea for a man in Tennessee who attacked an energy facility with drones and explosives. We secured the indictment of a violent Sinaloa cartel faction leader in Chicago on narco-terrorism charges. Our folks in Sacramento collaborated with domestic and international partners to secure a guilty plea for a leader of a transnational terrorist organization who solicited the murder of federal officials. But the Bureau's job is not done. I'm committed to this transparency. Mr. Chairman, you alluded to our work with Congress. To date, in the 7 months that I've been FBI director, we have produced 33,000 pages to the United States Congress, 33,000 pages. Just to put that in perspective, my predecessor in his 7-year term issued 13,000 pages to Congress, and his predecessor in his 4-year term issued 3,000 pages to Congress. I've issued 33,000 pages in 7 months, and we're going to keep going. I'm dedicated to restoring the trust that the public has and needs in the integrity at the FBI, and it's being done every day by the men and women of the FBI. Now, I know that there's a lot of talk about Epstein, and I'm here to testify that the original sin in the Epstein case was the way it was initially brought by Mr. Acosta back in 2006. The original case involved a very limited search warrant or set of search warrants and didn't take as much investigatory material it should have seized. If I were the FBI director then, it wouldn't have happened. The search warrants were limited to small time periods to include 2002 to 2005 and 1997 to 2001. Mr. Acosta allowed Epstein to enter in 2008 to a plea and non-prosecution agreement, which then the courts issued mandates and protective orders legally prohibiting anyone from ever seeing that material ever again without the permission of the court. The non-prosecution agreements also barred future prosecutions for those involved at that time of those individuals. Still, this administration, at the direction of President Trump, has done more to turn over all the credible information we are legally able to do so, and we will continue to work with Congress to achieve that end. Under the direction of the President, thank you for your support for our mission to working to jointly deliver transparency and congressional oversight to the United States. Lastly, I want to close with the President's initiative here in Washington, D.C., as an example of what we're doing around the country. And I think our next city is Memphis. 21,000 arrests in D.C. with our federal partners, a huge decrease in violent crime, 60% decrease in gun crimes in Washington, D.C. in the last month, 74% decrease in carjackings in Washington, D.C. in the last month, 53% decrease in homicides in Washington, D.C. in the last month. The drugs are disappearing, people are freely walking around the states, and we're restoring the nation's capital to its glory. That work is through the interagency process that the FBI is proud to be a part of, and the initiative spearheaded by President Trump and the Attorney General. And perhaps most notably for investigations in Washington itself, it was the intelligence that the FBI gathered through our source network here in D.C. that helped us identify the suspects in the horrific murder of the D.C. intern Eric Tarpinian. We're proud to be a part of that investigation. We're proud to put the resources to bear of the FBI. And in closing, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee and Ranking Member Durbin, I'm honored to be the 9th Director of the FBI. I'm not going anywhere. If you want to criticize my 16 years of service, please bring it on. Over to you.
Kash Patel.
I've observed whether it's Republican or Democrats want a yes or no answer, that the witness and the senators talking over each other. So I thought what I'd do this time, rather than have that happen, if there's something you don't get a chance to answer because of the demeanor of a Republican or Democrat senator, before when we get done with that questioner, I'd give you a chance to fill in if there's something you didn't get a chance to say. Since 2019, I've sought greater transparency about Jeffrey Epstein and the government handling of the matter. I've continued to investigate during this Congress. Director Patel, was Jeffrey Epstein an intelligence asset for the United States government or the foreign government? And if so, which agencies or governments?
Mr. Chairman, I can only speak to the FBI as the Director of the FBI, and Mr. Epstein was not a source for the FBI.
Okay. Would you commit to providing my office with all classified and unclassified records relating to the Epstein matter?
I will commit to providing all records I'm legally permitted to do so under the court orders.
It seems to me that I accept your answer to my question, but the broader intelligence community ought to answer these questions as well. Victims deserve an answer.
Okay. So I'm going to jump off for now, but I will come back. I have some stuff I got to do, but if he starts getting grilled about Charlie Kirk, I'll either come back on or I'll just save the clips, if anything. But remember last night we covered Destiny's Child? They're saying Elon Musk's calls for the top left-wing streamer Destiny to go to prison for incitement to murder and domestic terrorism on felony charges. He can resume streaming after he has served his time. Oh shit, or served his term. Let him say what he wants, but this is also pay the price under the law. Destiny said, you need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events. Right now, they don't feel like there's any fear. And he has said other stuff in the past too. You know, I feel, and I've seen, condoning murder and violence. It's crazy because anybody else that would do this on their platform would probably be suspended. They would probably get a strike. It's crazy that this guy and the other guy, Hassan Abi, promotes violence all the time. It's called for murder all the time, for people to die, like all kinds of shit. And it seems like they're above these platforms' regulations and rules, especially Twitch. It's crazy to me. You know, they get past all kinds of stuff. and it's fine. So I don't know. It would be interesting to see if they actually held him accountable. I don't know if they can or not, though. You know, I don't know. To that level, there was a lot of controversy too with Pam Bondi, and that might be a stream in it for itself. I've been saving stuff, but there's some Pam Bondi stuff, free speech conversations.
This is another reason why I hate conservatives, and I hate you partially, okay, for supporting Trump, okay? Don't ever forget that, all right? I feel like I'm half joking. No, I'm not. Never mind. Okay, I feel like
we're here. We're discussing. I'm acknowledging to you all their problems. I could say I hate leftists because I could point to some Luigi Mangione and say, and this is sort of why I hate you too, Steve.
Listen, if you would have just got him at the Trump rally, I would have been okay with it, all right? If Brian Thompson would have been one of those. Okay, listen, if the issue is...
I don't know, but he says stuff like that all the time. It never gets any kind of, to my knowledge, like strikes or any kind of warnings or anything like that. I did see you guys mention somebody that passed away. I forgot the name. Damn. Oh, Robert Redford. Robert Redford passed away. He filmed Butch Cassidy, The Sundance Kid, The Sting. Passed away at age 89. Let me see anything else. Well, Pam Bondi said, hate speech that crosses the line into threats of violence is not protected by the First Amendment. It's a crime. Far too long, we've watched the radical left normalize threats and calls for assassinations and cheer on political violence. The era is over. You cannot call for someone's murder. You cannot swat a member of the Congress. You cannot dox a conservative family and think it will be brushed off as free speech. Free speech protects ideas, debate, even dissent, but it does not and will never protect violence. So I don't know. I don't know where it's going with all this stuff, but there's a lot of talk about that. Some people agree, some people disagree, really upset. And Bondi
matters is complete and without border.
Yeah. Through my and other...
I watched a little bit of Candace Owens' episode this morning. I didn't get to finish it, but talking about Charlie Kirk, and I mean, I feel like she was kind of thinking or insinuating that maybe Israel was behind it, or like Bibi Netanyahu. They wanted him to, because he was having a spiritual awakening, and I do believe that there was people up there that didn't like him, questioning stuff. Probably, I'm sure he had mentioned like some of these, even to the conservative people, and that he wanted to get people to question and talk about it. I don't think there's anything wrong with criticizing Israel or bringing up the topic. What's discussing?
Congratulations, LGBT leftists or whatever. You shot some moderate conservative. Meanwhile, our country's being raped. Congrats. Good job. Now everybody's focused on internecine. Now we're doing the culture war. Now it's Christian parents fighting with their gay kids about fucking porn. Meanwhile, we have no independence. We have no sovereignty.
Well, Charlie Kirk, for a lot of people, for some people on the right, he wasn't right enough. They didn't like that he was like, he had people, gay people on, I thought on his team or supportive of gay people. And some people didn't like that. Dave Rubin, I think he's gay. I forgot the black guy's name. He was like, kind of like, I guess, maybe you would call him a moderate person or whatever, you know? They killed a person that was willing to have conversations, shake hands, bring people on, acceptance, all kinds of shit. Even though they say he wasn't like that, he was. But yeah, the Charlie Kirk thing is very draining. Oh my god. Emotionally, everything. All right, I guess that's it for now. I just want to check in with you guys this morning. That mass shooting, which was kind of interesting with the whole property stuff. Charleston White apparently did another video, 17-minute rant video, I guess, with the Charlie Kirk stuff. Here he's openly racist. Pig who says F Charlie Kirk and his 2 autistic white babies. I feel like sometimes this guy rage baits a lot. But he's also kind of a piece of shit. Not just the Charlie Kirk thing. He's done this so many times with other stories. I don't know if he's rage baiting. He's done it with a lot of other people. DMX, people that have passed away, all kinds of people. F this, F that, F your kids. He's really said some horrible stuff about people's kids. And right now, I guess he knows that if he does this, it's going to grab him attention. What's your last name, White? Charleston White. I don't know. I'm not even going to play this, I don't think.
The right-wing conservative, the right-wingers, he didn't want to accept that. He probably was more of a moderate. I wouldn't call him a leftist. Yeah. I would say he was a moderate because he was sneaking and fucking that boy. He wasn't just openly fucking the boy like this. So he was sneaking it and doing it because he knew his parents was against it. But don't try to make
they're talking about the shooting.
Make it just seem like the gay transsexual dude brainwash him with this left liberal mindset, and all of a sudden he abandoned the conservative. No, he really wanted to kill Charlie Kirk because and he did kill him. But when everything Charlie Kirk was doing, if you're an intelligent black person or even an intelligent Jewish person, that's the same shit that Hitler used. He used the media to depict Jews in a negative way, whether it was a cartoon or every.
Oh my God. Anyway, all right. I will catch you guys later, man. Yeah, he hates everybody. Charleston White, yeah. All right, yeah, but I'll catch you guys later. I'm gonna do a couple things. There's supposed to be a court hearing today too. I'm gonna try to see if I can stream it later today for the shooter. I don't know if they're actually gonna be inside the court. I don't know, but I know at least they should probably be outside. And I'm gonna try to mix up the stories too if I can, because it is a lot of overload with Charlie Kirk. I'm not saying he shouldn't be talked about at all, but I'm just saying we might need to mix it up a little bit because it's like it is so consuming, and then you see these people saying certain things, and it's a lot. It's a lot. So I'll be mixing it in, but I will be updating Charlie Kirk. We'll be mixing other stories and stuff like that, when I can. I thought this mass shooting was kind of interesting just in the fact that, like, I don't know, I haven't heard of that. Some private owner, like, owning land, and he's like, all right, here's all the homeless people, come over here. And so that's what they're doing. They're over there. And the city's pissed off about it. But, all right, man. Love you guys. Take care. Hope you have a great day. All right. Peace. Bye. Bloop. Oh, Utah's allowed to have cameras? Maybe we'll have some cameras later. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Isn't your middle of the month check ready? Or is that just the first? I don't know what that means. I get one check like on the 22nd or the 23rd. But the way YouTube works is I get paid like this month right now. I'm getting August's check. So like I already, you know what I mean? Like it's like 1 month behind. So this month right now is for next month. Charleston Crack Daddy. Take care, guys. Love you.